I woke up this morning and found a note in my medicine cabinet. My handwriting. Don't trust Claire. Claire is my daughter. I have dementia. Some days my brain works. Other days I can't remember my own name. And on the clear days I keep finding these notes, everywhere, all warning me about her. So I started investigating my own daughter. Bank statements hidden in my printer. My late husband's foundation for foster kids is going bankrupt. 18 children about to lose their home. And every piece of evidence I find has her name on it. But here's what terrifies me. What if I'm wrong? What if my failing brain is making me accuse an innocent person? Or what if I'm right, and my own daughter has been stealing from the most vulnerable kids in the city? Tomorrow I might forget all of this. But today, I need to know the truth. Even if it destroys my family. My name is Helen. I am 73 years old, and this is my story. Before we continue, please leave a comment telling us where you're watching from, and subscribe to Never Too Old channel. We're creating a community of people who know that our best chapters can happen at any age. Now back to the story. I woke up and didn't know where I was. The ceiling looked familiar, maybe. The lamp on the nightstand, I'd seen that before, but the panic came anyway, that feeling like falling when you're already lying down. I blinked. The room assembled itself slowly. My bedroom. My house. The one George and I bought 30 years ago. George. My chest tightened. George was gone. I got out of bed too fast and the room tilted sideways. I grabbed the nightstand, waited for the floor to stop moving. This happens now. Stand up too quick and everything goes wrong. The doctor called it something medical, some blood pressure thing I can never remember. Part of the Lewy body dementia, he said. That's what I have. Not Alzheimer's like most people get. This one comes with hallucinations, and the shakes and days where I'm perfectly fine, mixed with days where I can't remember my own address. The bathroom. I needed the bathroom. I shuffled across the carpet. My feet don't lift right anymore. I used to walk normal. Now I sound like I'm dragging myself across the floor. It's embarrassing. I'm 73, not 90. I opened the medicine cabinet for my blood pressure pills, and that's when I saw it. A yellow sticky note on the inside of the cabinet door. My handwriting. Block letters pressed hard into the paper. Don't trust Claire. I stared at it, read it again. My hand reached up and touched the paper, made sure it was real. I didn't remember writing that. I didn't remember putting it there. Claire is my daughter. Why would I write that about my own daughter? I peeled the note off carefully and held it close to my face. Definitely my handwriting. The way I make my R's, that little tail at the bottom, the way the E's slant left. But I had no memory of writing it. None. My hands started shaking. I set the note on the counter and grabbed my pill bottles. Monday. Today is Monday. Or is it Tuesday? The days blur together now. I found the Monday compartment in my pill organizer and stared at it. Empty. Had I already taken them today? Or was that yesterday? I couldn't remember. The fog in my head got thicker. I gripped the edge of the sink. The doorbell rang, two sharp sounds that cut through the confusion. I left the pills and shuffled back through the bedroom, down the hallway. The doorbell rang again. Hold on, I wanted to say, but my throat felt tight. I opened the door and Peter stood there holding 2 coffee cups. Morning, Grandma, he said. That easy smile. My grandson, the only one who still visits. Peter. The relief felt like sitting down after standing too long. Come in. He followed me inside, set the coffees on the kitchen table. 20 years old and already taller than his grandfather was. He had George's dark hair and his grandfather's easy way of smiling. You okay? He asked. You look a little pale. I'm fine. I sat down hard in one of the kitchen chairs. Just one of those mornings. He pushed a coffee toward me. I got you decaf, with cream. I took a sip. He'd remembered. Claire never remembers. Did you take your pills yet? Peter opened the cabinet where I keep the medication, pulled out the organizer. I don't know, I said. The words tasted bitter. I couldn't remember if I already did or not. He checked the compartments. Monday's empty, you took them already. Are you sure it's Monday? October 27th, Monday. He said it gentle, not like I was stupid. I nodded and drank more coffee. The warmth helped. Peter sat down across from me. He was wearing an old sweatshirt with a coffee stain on the sleeve. College kid clothes. He's studying social work at the state university. His mother hates that. She wanted him to do something practical, something that makes real money. That thought pulled another one forward. The note. Peter, I said, I found something this morning in the medicine cabinet. What kind of something? I got up, shuffled back to the bathroom, brought the yellow note back to the kitchen. My hand shook a little when I gave it to him. He read it. His face changed. You wrote this? He asked. It's my handwriting, but I don't remember writing it. He turned the note over, looked at both sides. When do you think you wrote it? I have no idea. My voice came out sharper than I meant. That's the problem. I don't remember. Peter set the note down carefully between us on the table. What does it mean? Why wouldn't you trust Mom? I don't know. But something cold was moving in my stomach. Some instinct that the note meant exactly what it said. I stood up again, steadier this time, and went to the kitchen drawer where I keep receipts and coupons and things I mean to organize but never do. I pulled it open. Another note. This one on blue paper tucked under a stack of takeout menus. Check the foundation accounts. I held it up so Peter could see. Grandma, what's going on? I don't know. I set the blue note next to the yellow one. I must have written these, but I can't remember why. Peter picked up the blue note. The foundation. You mean Hope Harbor, Grandpa's foundation? Yes. The fog in my head cleared for a second. The foundation. George's pride. The thing he built to help kids nobody else wanted. He started it 20 years ago, back when we had the money. It houses foster teenagers, the older ones who age out of the system, gives them somewhere stable to live while they finish high school. 18 kids live there now. Or they did last time I checked. George died 18 months ago. Heart attack. Sudden. One morning he just didn't wake up. I've spent all this time since then trying to hold on to him. The memories keep slipping away like water through my fingers. Your grandfather loved that place, I said. More than anything. I know. Peter's voice was soft. He was a good man. Was. Past tense. I hate that word. I sat back down. Your mother runs it now. She took over after he died. Yeah. Something in his voice made me look up. You two still not speaking? Peter's jaw tightened. We talk. Sometimes. When we have to. She's still angry about school? She thinks I'm wasting my life. He shrugged, but his shoulders stayed tense. Social work doesn't pay enough. I should have done business, or pre-law, something that matters. It matters, I said. Not to her. He looked at the notes again. She cut me off. 2 years ago, said if I wasn't going to take my future seriously, she wasn't going to fund it. That sounded like Claire. My daughter has always been hard. Sharp edges. Even when she was little, she never softened. My phone buzzed on the table. Claire's name on the screen. I stared at it, let it buzz 3 times before I picked up. Hi, honey, I said. Mom. Claire's voice was clipped, professional. I'm coming over this afternoon. We need to talk about some paperwork. What paperwork? Just some things that need signatures. I'll explain when I get there. Around 3. I might not be here at 3. Where would you be? Sharp, like I'd said something ridiculous. I don't know, out. Claire sighed. The kind of sigh that means she thinks I'm being difficult. Just be there, please. This is important. She hung up before I could answer. I set the phone down. Peter was watching me. That was your mother, I said. I figured. She's coming over at 3. Wants me to sign something. Peter frowned. Sign what? She didn't say. I looked at the notes again. Don't trust Claire. Check the foundation accounts. Something dropped in my stomach. I got up and went to the small desk in the corner where I keep my printer. Sometimes I print things and forget about them. Bills, articles, things I mean to read. There was paper in the output tray. I pulled it out. A bank statement. Hope Harbor Foundation printed across the top. Numbers in columns. Some of them circled in red pen. Peter, I said. Look at this. He came over, took the paper, studied it. Did you print this? He asked. I must have. I pointed at the red circles. I must have been looking at something specific. The circled amounts were large, payments going out to companies I didn't recognize. 5,000 here, 10,000 there. Peter's face went still. Grandma, When did you print this? I have no idea. He looked at me for a long moment. Do you think something's wrong with the foundation? I wanted to say no. I wanted to say Claire would never do anything wrong, that George's legacy was safe, but the notes were real, the printout was real, and somewhere in my failing brain, past me had seen something worth investigating. I used to do this for a living, I said. The words came out slow. Track financial crimes. I worked for the DA's office for 30 years. I know what money trails look like when someone's trying to hide something. Peter set the statement down. And this looks like that? I don't know yet, but I circled those payments for a reason. I traced my finger over the red circles. My handwriting again. Someone paying attention. Someone who saw a pattern. We have until 3 o'clock, I said. We need to figure out what I was looking at, what I found. How? I thought about it. My brain felt clearer now than it had this morning. The coffee helped. Having Peter here helped. We need to go to the foundation, I said. Get the real financial records, not just this one statement, all of them. Will they let you see them? I'm the founder's widow, they have to. I stood up, steadier now. And if something's wrong with those accounts, if money is disappearing, those kids are the ones who'll suffer. Peter nodded slowly. Okay, we'll go. But first, let me help you with something. He went to the junk drawer, pulled out a small notepad and a pen. Write down what we're doing, what we found. That way, if you forget later, you have it. I took the pen, started writing. My hands shook, but the words came out clear enough. Found notes warning about Claire. Found bank statement with suspicious payments. Going to investigate foundation finances. Peter is helping. Trust him. I looked at what I'd written. It felt strange, like leaving a message for a stranger who happened to live in my body. But the stranger was me, on the bad days, the confused days, and she needed to know what we were doing. I folded the paper and put it in my cardigan pocket. We should go soon, Peter said, before Mom gets here. I checked the clock. Almost 10:30. We had time. But first I needed to find something. I went to the bookshelf in the living room, pulled out the book I'd been trying to read for months, a mystery novel I couldn't keep straight in my head. A note fell out. White paper this time. Same handwriting. She's lying about the conservatorship. Peter came over, read the note over my shoulder. Conservatorship. The word sat heavy in my mouth. I knew what it meant. I'd seen it used in cases at the DA's office. Legal control over someone deemed incompetent. Their finances, their medical decisions, their whole life handed over to someone else. Claire wanted that power over me. I sat down on the couch. The pieces were coming together now. Claire wanting me to sign papers. The suspicious payments. The notes warning me not to trust her. She wants to take control, I said. Of me. Of my money. Of everything. We don't know that for sure. Don't we? I held up the notes. All 3 of them. I wrote these. During clear moments. I was warning myself. Peter sat down next to me. Then we figure out why. We get the records. We see what's really going on. What if it's nothing? My voice cracked. What if I'm just confused and paranoid and making problems that don't exist? Then we find that out too. But Grandma, you were a forensic accountant. You know money crimes. If you circled those payments, there was a reason. I wanted to believe him. I wanted to trust that the clear-headed version of me knew what she was doing. We have until 3 o'clock, I said again. Peter checked his watch. Then we better get moving. I gathered the notes, the bank statement, put them all in a folder. Evidence. That's what this was. Evidence of something. I just had to remember long enough to figure out what. We had 5 hours before Claire arrived. 5 hours to find out if my daughter was stealing from vulnerable kids. 5 hours before I might forget everything all over again. But before we could leave, we needed a plan. We can't just show up and hope for the best, I said. My forensic training was kicking in now, cutting through the fog. We need a system. Print everything. Photograph it. Hide the evidence where she can't find it. Peter nodded. Where should we hide it? My bedroom closet. Behind the winter coats. She never goes in there. We spent the next half hour setting up. I knew how to do this. The problem was my hands wouldn't cooperate. They shook when I tried to type on my laptop. The password took 3 tries because I kept hitting wrong keys. Peter helped without making me feel useless. He'd steady my hand when I needed to click something, but he let me direct him. This was my investigation. I created a folder on my desktop, buried it 3 levels deep in my tax documents from years ago. Password protected. Nobody would think to look there. Print this bank statement, I told him. 2 copies, one for the closet, one for the folder. We printed. We organized. I wrote instructions on a card for myself, step by step, how to access the hidden folder, where the evidence was stored. I put the card in my cardigan pocket. It felt like admitting defeat, but it also felt like fighting back. By 11:30 we were ready. Peter made us quick sandwiches. I wasn't hungry, but I ate anyway. I'd need the energy. "You're sure about this?" he asked. "No, but we're doing it anyway." We took his car. The drive to Hope Harbor Foundation was 20 minutes across town. I watched the streets go by, tried to keep my mind sharp, focus on what we needed to find. Don't let the fog come back. The building looked tired in the afternoon sun, red brick that needed work, cracked steps. George had loved this place so much, poured his heart into it. What if I was wrong? What if the circled payments meant nothing, and I was just a confused old woman causing problems? "Grandma," Peter touched my arm. "We're here." I got out of the car slowly. My legs felt unsteady. Inside smelled like coffee and old pizza. A girl sat in the common room, maybe 16, headphones on. She glanced up as we passed but didn't say anything. The kitchen had 2 boys arguing about whose turn it was to do dishes. Normal teenage stuff. It felt so ordinary. A tall kid came down the stairs, saw us, and smiled. 17 or 18, strong jaw, cautious eyes. "Mrs. Foster," he said. "I didn't know you were coming by." I knew him. Marcus. I'd met him before, back when George was alive. "Hi, Marcus. How are you?" "Good. Staying out of trouble." The smile didn't quite reach his eyes. A woman appeared from the hallway, mid-40s, blonde hair pulled back tight. She saw us and something flickered across her face. Surprise. Maybe concern. "Helen," she said. "This is unexpected." Angela, the foundation director. My daughter had hired her last year. "I wanted to see the place," I said. "Make sure everything's running smoothly." "Of course. Everything's fine. Your daughter has been working incredibly hard." There was something in her tone, rehearsed, like she'd said it before. "I'd like to see the financial records," I said. Angela blinked. "The financial records?" "Yes. Bank statements, budget reports, all of it." "I'm not sure that's necessary. Claire handles all those files now." "I'm the founder's widow." I kept my voice calm, firm. "I'd like to review them." She hesitated, looked at Peter, then back at me. "I should probably call Claire first." "No." I stepped closer. "I don't need her permission. Show me the records." The room got quiet. Marcus was still on the stairs, watching. The girl with the headphones had taken them off. Angela's smile tightened. "Of course. Let me see what I have access to." She led us down the hallway to the office. George's old office. Except it wasn't his anymore. Everything had been changed. New desk, gray paint, filing cabinets I didn't recognize. "Most of the files are at Claire's house now," Angela said. "But I have some basic reports here." She unlocked a filing cabinet, pulled out a slim folder. I took it, opened it. Budget summaries, expense reports, nothing detailed. "This isn't enough," I said. "I need to see the actual invoices, the bank statements." Like I said, Claire keeps those. I went to the filing cabinet myself, started pulling drawers open. "Mrs. Foster, I really don't think." "Then don't think. Just let me look." Peter was taking photos with his phone, the office, the filing cabinets, everything. I found a folder marked Vendor Services, pulled it out. Inside were invoices, lots of them. Bright Future Consulting, Summit Youth Services, New Horizon Development. Companies I'd never heard of. Each invoice for thousands of dollars, $5,000 here, $8,000 there. All approved by Claire's signature. My hands shook as I held them. "What are these?" I asked Angela. "Services the foundation contracts with." That told me nothing, but I didn't have time to argue. Peter took the folder from me, started photographing each page. I kept searching, found another folder. property management. Inside was the lease agreement for the building. I scanned through it, my brain catching on the important parts. Section 4, subsection C. Lease termination clause. If rent was 60 days past due, landlord could terminate with 60 days' notice. 4 months total. That's all these kids would have if the money dried up. Peter, I said quietly, photograph this. All of it. He was already on it. Angela was on her phone now, texting someone. Probably Claire. I didn't care. We had what we needed. A younger girl came down the stairs. 15 maybe. Thin frame, dark eyes that looked older than they should. She saw me and her face brightened. Mrs. Foster, hi. Hi, sweetheart. I knew her. Destiny. She'd been through 3 foster homes before this one. How's school? Good. I got a B on my history test. That's wonderful. She went into the kitchen, humming something under her breath. And I thought about what would happen to her if the foundation collapsed, where she'd go, whether she'd feel safe again. We should go, Peter said quietly. He was right. We had enough, for now. Thank you, Angela, I said. Her smile was ice. Of course, I'll let Claire know you stopped by. We left, got back in the car. Peter drove fast. She's calling Mom right now, he said. I know. What do we do when Mom shows up? We hide what we found, quick, before she gets there. We got home by 1:40, just over an hour before Claire was due. Peter and I went straight to my bedroom. We shoved the papers behind the winter coats in my closet. Not organized yet, just hidden. We'd do it properly later. He transferred all the photos to my hidden computer folder. Checked it 3 times to make sure it was saved. Okay, he said. What now? I looked at the clock. 2:15. My head was starting to fog a little. The clarity from this morning was fading at the edges. Now we wait. At 3 o'clock exactly, the doorbell rang. I answered it. Claire stood on the porch holding a leather folder. Professional, put together, my daughter who always had everything under control. Hi, Mom. She leaned in, kissed my cheek. Her perfume was sharp, expensive. Claire. She came inside, saw Peter in the living room. Her face tightened. Peter, I didn't know you were here. Just visiting. How nice. She said it like it wasn't nice at all. She sat on the couch, opened her folder. I sat across from her in the armchair. Mom, we need to talk about your living situation. My living situation is fine. It's not. You're having memory issues, balance problems. You need more support. I'm managing. You're not. She pulled papers from the folder. I found a memory care facility. 24-hour nursing. They specialize in your condition. I'm not going to a facility. Be reasonable. I am being reasonable. This is my house. I'm staying here. That's when she saw it. The bank statement I'd forgotten to hide. Sitting on the coffee table where I'd left it this morning. Her whole body went still. What is this? She asked. A bank statement. I can see that. She picked it up. Why do you have this? It's the foundation's account. I wanted to review it. Who gave this to you? Does it matter? Her face flushed. Yes, it matters. Did you go to the foundation today? Did you bother Angela? I didn't answer. Mom, you can't do that. You can't just show up and demand things. It confuses the staff. It makes my job harder. Harder for who? For everyone. For me. She crumpled the statement in her fist. You're not well. You're getting confused about things. I'm not confused about those payments. I kept my voice level. Large amounts to companies nobody recognizes. Because you don't remember the foundation's operations. That's the dementia. Or because something's wrong. She stood up. The statement still in her hand. Nothing is wrong. I'm managing the foundation. You need to stop interfering. I'm not interfering. I'm asking questions. Questions I've already answered. Multiple times. But you forget, so we're stuck in this loop. She shoved the statement into her bag. This is exactly why we need the conservatorship hearing. She pulled more papers from her folder. Legal documents. Court letterhead. November 17th. 3 weeks from today. I'll be granted legal authority to manage your finances and make decisions about your care. You can't do that. I can. Your doctor's reports support it. The court knows about your condition. She set the papers on the coffee table. This is for your protection, so you don't accidentally hurt yourself or make decisions that harm the foundation. My chest felt tight. She was taking everything. Get out, I said. She blinked. What? Get out of my house. Mom, don't be dramatic. I'm not being dramatic. Leave, now. Peter stepped into the room, stood next to my chair. She looked between us, then gathered her papers, shoved them back in the folder. Fine, but this doesn't change anything. 3 weeks, Mom, and then we're going to have a real conversation about your future. She left. The door closed hard. I sat there shaking. The room felt like it was tilting. After a moment, I stood up, went to my desk, started pulling open drawers. What are you looking for? Peter asked. More notes. I write them when I'm clear-headed, hide them for later. I found 2, one behind the desk calendar, one taped under the desk drawer. She forged documents, moving money to hidden accounts. I handed them to Peter. Add these to the evidence. We went back to the closet. This time we did it right. We taped everything to the back wall: papers, notes, photocopied invoices, connected them with string from the junk drawer, creating a timeline, a map of what I thought Claire was doing. It looked insane, like something from a conspiracy board, but it was real. It was all real. We have 3 weeks, I said. We'll figure it out. That night was rough. Around 7, I stood up from the couch to go to the bathroom, and the room spun. My legs gave out. I went down hard. Peter caught me halfway, kept me from hitting the floor completely. I've got you. Everything hurt, my pride most of all. Later, around midnight, I woke up and thought I saw George standing in the hallway, just a shadow against the dark. I stared at it for a long time before I realized Peter was sleeping on the couch, and the shadow was just the coat rack. At 3 in the morning, I got confused about where I was. Couldn't remember my own bedroom. Peter heard me moving around, came in, talked me back to the present. It's okay. You're home, you're safe. But I wasn't safe. My brain was betraying me bit by bit, and somewhere behind my closet coats was evidence I might not remember finding. I just had to last 3 more weeks. Morning came too soon. I woke up not knowing where I was. The light through the window was wrong. The ceiling was wrong. Everything felt tilted. I heard voices. Someone in my house. Panic crawled up my throat. I tried to remember, tried to grab onto something solid. The door opened. A young man stood there, tall, dark hair. Grandma, you okay? Peter, my grandson. The pieces clicked into place slowly. My house, my bedroom. He'd stayed the night because I'd fallen. I'm fine, I said. My voice came out rough. Just took me a minute. He helped me sit up, brought me water and my pills. I took them without thinking about whether I'd already taken them today. Do you remember yesterday? He asked. Some of it. The foundation, Claire, the fight. But it all felt hazy, like looking through dirty glass. Come on, I want to show you something. He led me to my closet, pushed aside the winter coats. The back wall was covered in papers, documents taped up, notes in my handwriting, string connecting them, a whole map of something I didn't remember creating. I stepped closer, started reading. Bank statements with circled amounts, invoices to companies I didn't know, a lease agreement, notes that said don't trust Claire, and she forged documents. I did this, I asked. Yesterday, after Mom left. You found more notes you'd hidden and we organized everything. I studied the wall. It was good work, organized, clear, the kind of investigation board I used to build at the DA's office. But I had no memory of making it. Walk me through it, I said. Tell me what we found. Peter pointed to the bank statements, large payments going out, all to those companies we saw in the invoices yesterday. Do we know what they are? No, but they're all approved by Mom's signature. I looked at the pattern, the amounts, 5,000 here, 8,000 there. Over months, someone was bleeding the foundation dry. If she's stealing, I said slowly, what happens to the kids? Peter's face went serious. That's what we talked about yesterday. If the money runs out, the foundation can't pay rent. The lease has a termination clause. 60 days past due, they can kick everyone out. How many kids? 18. 18 kids with nowhere to go. I thought about Marcus, about Destiny, with her history test B, about all of them. Where would they go? I asked. Group homes, probably. Overcrowded ones, or they'd get shuffled to new foster placements. Peter sat on the edge of my bed. I know some of them from volunteering. It's part of my social work program. Marcus is 17. He's aging out of the system next year. This is his last stable place before he's on his own. And Destiny? She's been through 3 foster homes. This is the first place she's felt safe. The weight of it settled over me. This wasn't just about money, or Claire, or even George's legacy. This was about real kids who'd already been through too much. We need to know how bad it is, I said. The actual numbers. The bank? Yeah, let's go. We drove to the bank. My mind felt clearer this morning than it had last night. The fog was still there but thinner. The bank manager recognized me. Nice woman, maybe 40. She'd handled our accounts for years. Mrs. Foster, how can I help you? I need complete account records for the Hope Harbor Foundation, going back 3 years. She hesitated. Your daughter is the primary account holder now. I'm the founder's widow. I have a right to see them. She looked at Peter, then back at me. Of course. Give me a few minutes. We waited in her office. Peter fidgeted with his phone. I tried to keep my mind focused. Don't let the fog come back. Not yet. The manager returned with a thick folder. Everything you requested. I opened it, started going through the statements. My training kicked in. That muscle memory of following money trails. The pattern jumped out immediately. Withdrawals, transfers, money moving out in careful layers. Someone knew what they were doing. Look at this, I said to Peter. Pointed to a statement from 6 months ago. Foundation balance was $80,000. That's good, right? I flipped to the most recent statement. Now it's $12,000. That's enough for 2 months, maybe, if they're lucky. I kept reading. Found records of new companies, LLCs created after George died. These are new. She set these up. Mom? Yeah, all registered to her. Money's been flowing to them. Peter took photos of every page. I studied the numbers until my eyes hurt. She's draining it, I said, systematically, and in 2 months, there won't be anything left. My phone buzzed. Text from Claire. Mom, we need to talk about the conservatorship hearing. It's in 3 weeks. Please don't fight this. It's for the best. I showed Peter the text. If she gets conservatorship, he said quietly, she controls everything. Your money. Your ability to investigate. She buries the evidence. And those kids lose their home. We sat there in the bank manager's office. Everything felt impossible. I was 73 with a failing brain. My daughter was stealing from vulnerable kids, and in 3 weeks she'd have legal control over my life. What do we do? Peter asked. We have to prove it, before the hearing, before she shuts us down. How? I don't know yet. My head was starting to hurt. The clarity was fading at the edges, but we have 3 weeks. We thanked the bank manager and left. Drove home in silence. Back at the house, I went straight to my closet, stood in front of the evidence wall, tried to memorize it, tried to burn it into my brain so maybe tomorrow I'd remember. That's when I saw it. A note I'd written but hadn't added to the wall yet, tucked in the corner behind a sweater. If you're reading this during a bad day, trust what you wrote during good days. Claire is dangerous. I held the note. Looked at my own handwriting. Clear-minded me trying to help confused me. The irony wasn't lost. I was investigating my own daughter based on notes from a version of myself I couldn't remember being. But the numbers didn't lie. $12,000 left. 2 months before 18 kids were on the street. I pinned the note to the wall with the others. We're running out of time, I said to Peter. I know. And I'm running out of clear days. He didn't argue. We both knew it was true. 3 weeks until the conservatorship hearing. 2 months until the foundation collapsed. And my brain was betraying me faster every day. But those kids needed someone to fight for them. Even if that someone could barely remember her own name. The next few days blurred together. Good hours mixed with bad ones. I'd be sharp for a morning, then lost by afternoon. Peter stayed close, helped me review the evidence wall when I forgot what it meant. We were running out of time. 2 weeks until the conservatorship hearing. The doorbell rang on a Thursday morning. I was dressed, trying to make coffee. Peter had gone to class. I answered the door. Claire stood there with a man I didn't know, mid-50s, carrying a medical bag. "Mom, this is Dr. Patterson. He's here for your checkup." I hadn't scheduled a checkup, but Claire was already leading him inside, gesturing to the living room like this was her house. "Please, sit down, Mrs. Foster," the doctor said. I sat. Claire settled on the couch across from me, hands folded in her lap. "Professional. This is just a routine evaluation," the doctor said. "Nothing to worry about. I'm going to ask you some questions. Just answer as best you can." This wasn't routine. This was the conservatorship evaluation, the one Claire would submit to the court to prove I couldn't take care of myself. "Can you tell me today's date?" he asked. I tried to grab it. "Thursday." "But what day of the month?" "What month?" "Thursday," I said. "The full date?" My mind went blank. "October." "What day in October?" "I'm not sure." He wrote something down. "That's fine. Can you tell me where you are right now?" "My house." "What's your address?" I knew this. I'd lived here 30 years, but the numbers wouldn't come. I saw the street in my mind, the mailbox with our name, but the address floated just out of reach. "I forget the number," I said. More writing. "That's okay. Can you tell me what you had for breakfast?" Breakfast? Had I eaten breakfast? I looked at the coffee maker. The pot was half full. Peter must have made it earlier. But food? I don't remember. "Have you eaten today?" "I think so." Claire's face was carefully neutral, but I saw something flicker there. Guilt? Satisfaction? I couldn't tell. "Mrs. Foster, I'd like to ask about your daily routine. Do you take medication?" "Yes." "Can you tell me what medications?" I listed what I could remember. Blood pressure. Something for the dementia, but there were others. I couldn't pull up the names. "Do you take them on your own?" "Usually." "Have you ever forgotten to take them?" "Every day." "Most days." I didn't know anymore. "Sometimes," I said. "Do you drive?" "No." "Why not?" "I'm not safe to drive." He nodded, wrote more notes. "Do you cook for yourself?" "Sometimes." "Have you ever left the stove on? Forgotten about food cooking?" I didn't answer. The silence was answer enough. "Have you had any falls recently?" I thought about the other night. Hitting the floor. Peter catching me. "Yes." "How many in the past month?" "A few." "Do you feel safe living alone?" "I'm not alone. My grandson visits. But he doesn't live here." "No. So most nights you're by yourself?" "Yes." Every answer felt like handing Claire ammunition. Every admission of confusion or forgetfulness was evidence that I couldn't handle my own life. "One last question, Mrs. Foster. Do you understand why your daughter is seeking conservatorship?" I looked at Claire, at her carefully arranged face, at the doctor with his notes that would go straight to a judge. "She says it's for my protection." "Do you believe that?" I wanted to scream, to tell him she was stealing from vulnerable kids, that this was about silencing me, not protecting me. But would he believe me? Or would it just prove I was paranoid and delusional? "I don't know what to believe," I said. He closed his notebook, stood up. "Thank you, Mrs. Foster. That's all I need." Claire walked him to the door. They spoke in low voices. I caught fragments. Progressive decline. Safety concerns. Appropriate placement. Then they were gone. Both of them. I sat on the couch, shaking. The evaluation had lasted maybe 20 minutes. 20 minutes to prove I was incompetent. I'd failed every question, stumbled over things a child could answer. The worst part? They weren't wrong. I couldn't remember the date, couldn't remember my address, couldn't remember if I'd eaten. Maybe I was the problem. Maybe Claire was right and I was just a confused old woman making trouble. I went to my bedroom, opened the closet, stared at the evidence wall. Notes in my handwriting. Bank statements, invoices, string connecting everything. But what did it mean? On a bad day like today, it looked like the conspiracy board of someone losing her mind. I heard the front door open. Peter's voice. "Grandma, you okay?" I didn't answer. Couldn't. He found me sitting on the floor of my closet, staring at the wall. "What happened?" He knelt beside me. "The doctor came. The evaluation. I failed everything." "It's okay." "It's not okay." My voice cracked. I couldn't answer basic questions. Date, address, what I ate, nothing. He put his arm around me. You're having a bad day. That doesn't mean you're wrong about Mom. What if I am wrong? What if I'm just paranoid and confused? You're not. He pulled out his phone. Look, I went to the foundation this morning. He showed me photos, the front door of Hope Harbor, a notice taped to it. Notice of lease termination, failure to pay rent. 45 days to vacate premises. They're being evicted, I said. Yeah, Angela was there telling the staff. Some of the kids heard. They were asking where they'd have to go. He scrolled to another photo. Marcus sitting on the front steps, head in his hands. Destiny standing in the common room, arms crossed, face blank. They're scared, Peter said. And Mom's doing this. The evidence is real. You're not imagining it. The fog in my head cleared a little. Not much, but enough. 45 days, I said. Yeah. We have to stop her. Now. How? I stood up. Legs unsteady but anger holding me up. We confront her, show her the evidence, tell her we know everything and she needs to fix it. She'll just say you're confused. Not if we threaten to go to the police, to the kid social workers, to the media. Peter studied me. You think she'll listen? I think she'll have to. If she doesn't, we report her, and she goes to prison. We spent the afternoon organizing our evidence, printing copies, making sure everything was documented. Peter called the foundation's social services coordinator, explained there were serious financial concerns, asked if they could attend a meeting. She said yes, anything involving the kids' welfare. Then I called Claire's number. She answered on the second ring. Mom, I need to see you, tomorrow, at my house. I don't have time for this. I know what you've been doing. We have evidence. You need to come explain yourself. Silence. Then her voice came back sharp. Evidence of what? Exactly. The embezzlement, the fake companies, all of it. You have no idea what you're talking about. This is exactly why I need conservatorship. You're paranoid and making wild accusations. Tomorrow, noon. If you don't come, we're going to the police. Another pause. When she spoke again, her voice was tight with barely controlled anger. Fine. Noon. But when I prove you're wrong about this, we're done discussing the conservatorship. You're going into care whether you like it or not. She hung up. I looked at Peter. Tomorrow. She's coming tomorrow. Are you ready? No. My brain was failing. My memory was garbage. But those kids had 45 days before they were on the street. I have to be. That night I went through everything again. Read every note. Studied every invoice. Made sure I understood what we'd found. Peter helped. Patient. Never making me feel stupid when I forgot something he'd just explained. She's going to defend herself, I said. Come up with explanations. Then we keep pushing. Show her the eviction notice. Ask why the foundation is bankrupt if she's managing it so well. What if she has answers? Then we listen. But Grandma, the numbers don't lie. The foundation had 80,000. Now it has 12. Those kids are being evicted. She can't explain that away. He was right. But something nagged at me. Claire's voice on the phone, the exhaustion in it, like she was carrying something heavy. I thought about that night Peter had helped me when I was confused, how patient he'd been, how he'd never made me feel like I was broken. Claire hadn't visited in weeks before the conservatorship talk started. She called but never came by, never helped with the pills or the confusion or the fear. Or maybe she had, and I'd forgotten. The dementia made everything uncertain, every memory suspect, every conclusion questionable. But I looked at the evidence wall one more time, at the numbers, at the pattern of payments draining the foundation dry. Tomorrow we'd get answers, one way or another. And if Claire couldn't explain, we'd report her, even if she was my daughter. Because 18 kids needed someone to fight for them, even if that someone could barely hold on to her own thoughts. The next morning, I woke up with my mind clear, sharp edges on everything, the kind of clarity I couldn't count on anymore. I went to the closet, studied the evidence wall one more time, all those notes I'd written, all the proof we'd gathered, the invoices, the bank statements, the pattern of Claire draining the foundation dry. Today we'd confront her, make her explain, And if she couldn't, we'd report her. Peter arrived early, brought coffee, and helped me review everything one more time. You remember what we're saying? He asked. Yes. We show her the evidence. We tell her we know she's embezzling. We give her a chance to explain. I paused. And if she can't, we call the police. He nodded, looked worried. You sure you want to do this? Those kids have 45 days. We don't have time to wait. At noon exactly, the doorbell rang. I opened it. Claire stood there. Professional blazer. Hair pulled back neatly. Makeup perfect. She was carrying a canvas bag, heavy with something. Mom, she said. Her voice was controlled. Even. Come in. She followed me inside. Saw Peter at the kitchen table with all our evidence spread out. She stopped. Stared at the papers. Her face didn't change. Sit down, I said. She sat. Set her bag on the floor beside her chair. Folded her hands on the table. I laid out the evidence. The invoices to companies nobody recognized. The bank statements showing the foundation's balance dropping from $80,000 to $12,000. The LLCs registered in her name. The eviction notice. We know what you've been doing, I said. My voice came out steady, strong. You're embezzling from the foundation, creating fake companies, paying yourself, and those kids are being evicted because you've bled the accounts dry. Claire's face hardened. That's a serious accusation. It's not an accusation. It's fact. I pointed at the invoices. These companies, you created them. Money flows to them every month. Those are legitimate services. Legitimate. Peter leaned forward. We went to the bank. $80,000 down to 12 in 18 months, while you set up LLCs in your name. You have no idea what you're talking about. We have proof, I said. All of it. The bank statements, the LLC registrations, everything. Claire stood up. This is exactly what I warned you about. You're confused. Making connections that aren't there. This is the dementia, Mom. I'm not confused about the eviction notice, Peter said. The one posted on the foundation's door. 45 days until 18 kids lose their home. Something flickered across Claire's face. I'm handling that. By stealing their rent money, I asked. I haven't stolen anything. Then explain the LLCs. Explain the payments. Explain why the foundation is bankrupt. I don't owe you an explanation. Yes, you do. I stood up to face her. Because if you don't, we're calling the police. And we're calling the kids' social workers. And we're telling them everything. Claire's jaw tightened. You're going to destroy everything. Do you understand that? You already destroyed it. No. Her voice rose. I've been trying to save it. While you've been playing detective with your conspiracy wall, I've been doing actual work. Work like embezzling? Like cleaning up a mess you don't even know about. She was shouting now. Like trying to fix something that was broken long before I touched it. The room went quiet. What do you mean? I asked. Claire's hands were shaking, her composed mask cracking. You want proof? You want to know what really happened? Yes. Fine. She grabbed her bag. But once I show you, you can't unknow it. And you're going to wish you'd just trusted me and left it alone. Show us. She took a breath, let it out slow. Dad's office, in the garage. That's where the real evidence is. We've seen enough of your evidence. It's not my evidence. Her voice broke. It's his. And once you see it, you're going to understand why I've been protecting you. Protecting me from what? From the truth about the man you loved. We went through the kitchen, out the back door, to the garage. George had converted half of it into an office years ago. A place for his foundation work. I rarely went in there. It was his space. Claire pulled out a key, unlocked the door. Inside smelled like old paper and dust. Filing cabinets lined one wall. A desk covered in folders. She went straight to the desk, opened the bottom drawer. After Dad died, I came here to close out his files. Found things he'd been hiding. She pulled out a thick folder. Set it on the desk. Look at these. I opened the folder. Casino receipts. Dozens of them. Going back 3 years. Thousands of dollars. Some wins. Mostly losses. Dad had a gambling problem, Claire said quietly. Started after the foundation hit financial trouble 5 years ago. He thought he could win enough to fix it. I kept turning pages. More receipts. Letters from casinos about outstanding debts. Credit card statements I'd never seen. He opened secret credit cards, she continued, took cash advances, lost it all. Peter was reading over my shoulder. How much? 200,000, maybe more. I'm still finding accounts. My hands shook. I set the folder down. No, George wouldn't. There's more. Claire pulled out another folder. Opened it. Inside were business registration documents for the same companies we'd seen on the invoices, the ones we thought Claire had created. He created these, she said. Fake companies, used them to pull money out of the foundation, tried to cover the gambling losses. I stared at George's signature on the documents, his handwriting. Real. That's not possible. It is. Claire's voice cracked. And when the debts got too big, when people started coming after him, she pulled out a single piece of paper, folded, old. She handed it to me. I unfolded it. George's handwriting. Shaky. Rushed. Claire, I'm sorry. I can't face what I've done. The money is gone. The debts are too big. They're going to come after your mother, the foundation, everything. I thought I could fix it. I was wrong. Tell your mother I loved her. Tell her I'm sorry. This is the only way out. Dad. The words swam. I read them again and again. He killed himself, I said. Yes. Claire's face was wet, tears running down. The heart attack was a lie. I found him. Found this note beside him. I called 911. Told them it was a heart attack. I couldn't let everyone know he'd killed himself, that he'd destroyed everything and run away from it. The paper fell from my hands. 40 years with a man I thought I knew. The LLCs, Peter said. His voice sounded far away. The ones you created. I made them after he died. When I found all his debts, all the people he owed money to, I've been negotiating, consolidating, trying to pay off what I could, trying to save the foundation. But the foundation's bankrupt, I said. I know. She wiped her face. I've been trying, but there's too much debt, too many creditors. I couldn't save it. I'm so sorry. The room tilted. I grabbed the desk. There's something else, Claire said, quieter now. Something I should have told you years ago. I looked at her. When I was 16, I caught Dad with someone, a woman, in his car. I confronted him. He made me promise not to tell you, said it would destroy you, said he'd stop, said it was a mistake. Her voice broke. But it wasn't a mistake. There were others, over the years. I kept his secret, because he told me it would kill you to know. And I believed him. I couldn't breathe. How many? I don't know. At least 3 that I know about. George, my George, gambling, embezzling, cheating, lying to me for years. And when it all fell apart, he took the coward's way out. Why didn't you tell me? My voice came out as a whisper. Because you were already losing your memories, I thought. If you're going to forget everything anyway, at least you could keep the good memories of Dad, the way you thought he was. She was sobbing now. I've been trying to fix what he broke, pay his debts, save the foundation if I could, and the conservatorship. What about it? The creditors can come after you. Personally, your house, your savings, everything. If I have conservatorship, I can protect you, put your assets in a trust they can't touch. I've been trying to save you from his mess. I stood there, looking at the evidence of everything George had done, the gambling receipts, the fake companies, the suicide note, the affairs I'd never suspected. I thought you were the villain, I said. I know, she looked at me, eyes red, face wrecked. I know you did, and I couldn't tell you the truth because you'd forget, and we'd be right back here, with you thinking I was stealing when I've been trying to save anything I can. Peter was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, "That's why you were so angry about my major." Claire looked at him. "You said, social work doesn't pay enough, that I needed something practical. I thought you were just being controlling." He paused. "But you knew Grandpa had money problems, gambling debts. You didn't want me ending up like him. Broke. Desperate." She nodded slowly. "I watched him destroy everything chasing money he'd already lost. I couldn't watch you struggle too. I wanted you to have stability, security, things he never gave us." Peter touched my arm. "Grandma, sit down." I sat, on George's old office chair, surrounded by the evidence of his lies. 40 years. I'd loved him for 40 years, trusted him, built a life with him, and he'd been gambling it all away, stealing from vulnerable kids, cheating on me. And Claire had known, had carried his secrets since she was 16, had tried to clean up his mess alone. "I'm sorry," Claire whispered. "I'm so sorry. For all of it." I didn't know what to say, didn't know how to process any of this. The man I loved had never existed. He'd been a lie, all of it. A lie. And our daughter had been trying to save me from that truth. "The kids," I said finally. "The 18 kids. What happens to them?" Claire's face fell. "I don't know. I've been trying. But the money's gone. The eviction is final. I'm trying to find placements for all of them, but there's not enough." No. We sat there in George's office, surrounded by the wreckage of everything he'd destroyed, the foundation he'd embezzled from, the family he'd lied to, the life he'd thrown away. And I'd spent weeks thinking Claire was the monster. "I'm sorry," I said. My voice cracked. "I'm sorry I accused you. I'm sorry I thought." "It's okay." But it wasn't okay. I could see it in her face. "No, it's not." I stood up, walked to her, put my arms around her. She crumpled, sobbing into my shoulder, all the weight she'd been carrying alone. "I've got you," I said, even though I didn't know if that was true, even though my brain was failing and I might forget all of this tomorrow. But right now, in this moment, I had her. And I'd been wrong about everything. We went back inside, sat in the living room, the three of us. My mind was still clear, sharp. I needed to hold on to that for as long as I could. Peter sat on the couch looking lost, like someone had pulled the floor out from under him. "I don't understand." "Grandpa started the foundation. He loved those kids." "He did," Claire said, "at first. But then the money got tight, and he thought he could fix it, gamble his way out of debt. It just made everything worse. So everything I thought about him was a lie." "Not everything. He did love you. He loved all of us. He was just broken. And he didn't know how to ask for help." I watched them, my daughter, my grandson, both trying to make sense of a man who'd lied to everyone. "Tell us the numbers," I said to Claire. "All of it. I need to know exactly what we're dealing with." She pulled papers from her bag. Spreadsheets, records. Dad left $340,000 in debts. Gambling, credit cards, personal loans from people who charge interest you don't want to know about. The number sat heavy in the room. "Over the last 18 months, I've paid off $180,000, used my savings, my retirement, everything I had." "You bankrupted yourself," I said. "I tried to save it, save his reputation, save the foundation." Her voice cracked. "But there's still $160,000 left, plus back rent on the building. We have 45 days. After that the eviction is final." Peter leaned forward. "What are the options?" "We could sell the building, try to relocate somewhere cheaper, but that takes time we don't have. We could start an emergency fundraising campaign, but donors aren't going to give to a foundation they just found out was embezzled by its founder." "What if we tell the truth?" I asked. "Expose what George did, ask for help to save the kids despite his crimes." Claire shook her head. "It would destroy any chance of getting donations. People don't give money to scandals." "Then we don't protect his reputation," I said. My voice came out harder than I meant. "We do whatever it takes to keep those kids safe and housed. I don't care what it costs George's legacy." They both looked at me. "He made his choices," I said. "Bad ones. He stole from vulnerable children and then killed himself instead of facing it. I'm not going to let those kids suffer more just to keep people thinking he was a good man." The words hurt to say, but they were true. "What do you suggest?" Claire asked quietly. I thought about it, about the house I'd lived in for 30 years, the equity George and I had built, money that should have been ours together. "I'll sell the house," I said. "Use the equity to pay the remaining debts, cover the back rent. Whatever's left goes to stabilizing the foundation." "Mom, no. This is your home. It's a house. Those kids need stability more than I need 4 bedrooms and a yard I can't take care of anymore." I paused. "I'll find a facility. Somewhere I won't be a burden to anyone." "Absolutely not." Claire's voice was sharp, fierce. "You're not going to a facility. You're moving in with me." "Honey, I can't ask you to." "You're not asking. I'm telling you. You're coming to live with me. We'll figure it out together. Something in my chest loosened. Okay, if you're sure. I'm sure. Peter stood up, started pacing. I can help too. My social work program at the university. We do community projects. I could organize a major fundraiser, get students involved, create a whole new donor base. People who never knew Grandpa, who just want to help kids. Claire looked at him. You'd do that? Yeah, I would. He stopped pacing. This is why I wanted to study social work in the first place, to help people who need it. And right now, those 18 kids need it more than anyone. Something passed between them, mother and son. A bridge rebuilding. Okay, Claire said. Okay, we try. All of us together. We spent the rest of the day planning, making lists, figuring out timelines. How fast could I sell the house? How quickly could Peter organize a fundraiser? What did Claire need to negotiate with creditors? My mind stayed clear through all of it. A gift. I knew it wouldn't last. That night, after they left, I went through the house, found all my old notes, the accusations. Don't trust Claire. She's lying. She forged documents. I gathered them all, every single one. Then I wrote new notes, different ones. Trust Claire. She's been protecting you. She loves you more than you know. Your daughter is a hero. Remember that. George lied. Claire saved you. Trust her. Love her. I hid them in all the same places. The medicine cabinet, the kitchen drawer, behind the desk calendar, under the lamp on my nightstand, in my book, hoping that when the fog came back, when I forgot everything, I'd find these instead. The next 3 days were precious, clear, sharp. Claire came over every morning. We went through George's things together. His clothes, his books, the photos of a man I'd thought I knew. I loved him, I said, holding a picture of us from 20 years ago, both of us smiling. I keep thinking that, and then I hate myself for it. After everything he did, the lies, the affairs, stealing from those kids, how can I still? My voice broke. I know, Claire said quietly. I've been angry at him for 18 months, furious, but then I'll remember something good and it makes it worse, like I don't know which version of him was real. Do you forgive him? No. Her answer was immediate, hard. Maybe someday, but not now. Right now, I'm just angry that he left me to fix everything, that he chose to die instead of facing what he'd done. We cried together, for the man he could have been, for the family he destroyed, for all the years Claire had carried his secrets alone. Peter came over every afternoon, showed us his fundraiser plans, student volunteers, social media campaigns, local business sponsorships. I'm going to make this work, he said, determined, fierce, and I believed him. On the 3rd day, I started losing words, forgetting things I'd said 5 minutes ago, the fog rolling back in. It's coming back, I told Claire. She held my hand. I know. I won't remember. Tomorrow, or the day after, I'll forget all of this. That's okay. We'll be here anyway. I might think you're the villain again. Then we'll show you the notes. Remind you, as many times as it takes. I squeezed her hand, trying to hold on to this moment, this clarity, this truth, but I could feel it slipping away. A week later, I woke up and George was alive. In my mind, he was still here, still the man I loved, still the hero who'd built something good. I got out of bed, shuffled to the kitchen. Claire was there, making coffee. Morning, honey, I said. Where's your father? She froze, just for a second, then turned around. Peter was at the table. He looked at Claire. Something passed between them, sad and knowing. He's not here, Mom, Claire said gently. Remember? He passed away, 18 months ago. Oh, the grief hit fresh, like it was new. I forgot. It's okay. She handed me coffee. Let's have breakfast. They didn't correct the stories I told about George, didn't remind me of what he'd really done, just listened, nodded, let me have my false memories. It was kind, and it broke my heart in a way I couldn't quite name. 2 weeks after that, I was looking for something in the medicine cabinet, found a yellow sticky note. Don't trust Claire. My handwriting, my warning, fear shot through me. What had I discovered? What was she doing? I kept searching, found another note, behind the desk calendar. Trust Claire. She's been protecting you. She loves you more than you know. Also my handwriting, but completely different. I stood there holding both notes, confused, scared. Which one was real? Which one had I meant? Claire came into the room, saw me holding them. Mom? I showed her both. I found these. I don't know which one I wrote. Which one is true? She looked at them. Her face went soft, sad. She took both notes from my hands, very gently, tore the old one in half, then handed the new one back to me. This is the real one, Mom. This is what you wanted yourself to remember. I looked at the note, at my own handwriting. Trust Claire. Then I looked at my daughter. Really looked at the exhaustion in her face, the love, the patience despite everything. And somewhere deep inside, something settled, something that felt like truth even if I couldn't remember why. Okay, I said quietly. Okay, I trust you. Her eyes filled with tears. Thank you. Peter appeared in the doorway. Everything okay? Yeah, Claire said. Everything's okay. We went to the kitchen, sat together at the table, the three of us. My house was already on the market. Peter's fundraiser was scheduled for next month. Claire was negotiating with creditors. I didn't remember agreeing to any of it, but they told me I had, that we were doing this together, to save the foundation, to help the kids. Tell me about the kids, I said, the ones we're helping. Peter pulled out his phone, showed me pictures. Marcus, Destiny, 16 other faces, all depending on us. We're going to save their home, he said. Together. I looked at the faces, at kids I might have met but couldn't remember, at the foundation George had built and then destroyed, at my daughter who'd been trying to fix it alone, at my grandson who was fighting to help, and at my own note, still in my hand. Trust Claire. Okay, I said. Tell me what I need to do. They explained it all again, patient, kind, like it was the first time even though I suspected it wasn't. My brain might be failing. My memories might be disappearing. I might wake up tomorrow and forget all of this again. But right now, in this moment, we were together, a family, healing, fighting for something that mattered. And even if I forgot, the notes would remain. The truth would remain. George had broken everything, but we were going to fix it. One day at a time, one clear moment at a time, together. So, that's my story. I'd love to hear what you think. If you were in my shoes, would you be able to forgive George after knowing the truth about him? Let me know in the comments, and subscribe for more stories like mine.